Hello everyone, and welcome to the Wittenaw Sanatorium. Or, as you might know it, the Zombies Map Verruckt. This is a continuation of the series Evolution, where we're going to take a look at a map such as Verruckt, which we're going to do today, and look at its evolution over multiple titles or multiple instances where it's been constructed. So that means for today, we have to worry about the World at War campaign mission Ring of Steel, the World at War Zombies map Verruckt, of course, the Black Ops 1 version of the map, and as well the Black Ops 3 Zombies Chronicles version, and Revelations. If you enjoy this video and you want to see more of this series, leave a like on the video, it helps me out a ton, and of course, make sure you're subscribed so you can come back for more, but let's get right into it. Now, I think the best way to start this comparison is between the World at War campaign mission Ring of Steel, where the sanatorium can be found towards the end of the mission, and the normal World at War version of Verruckt. Since they're both in the same game, so they should share a lot of the same assets. And although that is mostly true, it turns out that the structuring of the building is quite different between the two versions. So starting off in the spawn area, I think there's something that we gotta mention right away, and that's that the staircase here is non-existent in the campaign. And instead, in its place, is a little open area leading to a massive hole in the wall of the sanatorium. And although this marks our first major difference between the two, when we turn around, we can see that the space for spawn is relatively the same. And I mean that by, like, literal area standards. The modeling is very different. For instance, the dentist chair doesn't even exist in the campaign, and that room actually connects to what would be the other side of spawn in Zombies. But you can see the jug room is mostly the same, and the little offshoot room that faces the courtyard, well, the windows are completely boarded up, and not in, like, the Zombies way. It's just a full sheet of wood right over the windows. You can't look out of them, you can't shoot out of them, but the space is still there. And as we move further into the spawn area, we can see one major difference that was made specifically for the Zombies map, and that is the big old wall that separates the two areas of spawn. Of course, that wall exists at spawn to separate players and force them to work through the map and meet back up at power. But here in the campaign, that wall is non-existent, and it's just one big open room. But the area is still all there, and even that little pathway that normally one side gets to use to shoot into the courtyard, it's all still there, although it doesn't have any walls surrounding it. And the room with the body lockers in Verruckt is also still there in the campaign, although it is modeled very, very differently. And the room with the bar wall by is quite a bit bigger. And kind of just like a little cool note here, the sign that you can find in front of the bar wall by room in the campaign, it seems like they took that sign and they moved it in front of the first viable door in the Zombies version. Which I have no idea what this sign says, so perhaps it's a translation that's popping on the screen right now for your viewing pleasure. And man, oh man, do I hope it's a pleasure. And now moving on out of spawn towards the Thompson Room, we can see that this area is actually very much alike the version in the campaign. I mean, it even has the same sign on the same pillar. The doors on the right side that are closed off are numbered in the campaign, and they lead to this unmodeled area, which, as you can see in Zombies, is modeled. This is because, of course, zombies spawn back here, and there's a window location on the wall. And this last door here near the staircase is unused in both the campaign and the Zombies map, however, it does have a little room behind it. In the campaign, this room even has a textured floor and ceiling, while in the Zombies map, it doesn't. Now, leaving the spawn from the other location, going up the stairs towards the MP40, we can see that there's more differences on this side of the map than the other. So, first of all, there's this big old blockade where double tap normally is in Zombies, but in the campaign, you can't actually go all the way down this hallway. Instead, you have to go to the right and use the balcony. Although that is the case, the area is still completely there, but back at the top of the staircase, we can start to see the biggest difference between the Zombies map and the campaign, and that's the layout. There's open doors such as these two that lead to areas you can't normally get to in Zombies. The first one right here leads to what is actually a zombie spawn location in Verruckt, while in the campaign, it's a series of rooms that are completely unmodeled in Zombies. And it actually connects back to the Zombies version of the map by the staircase. However, this connection is cut off in the Zombies version by a wall, although most of the space is all still there. The second door leads to an area overlooking the courtyard in the campaign, while in the Zombies map, this area was actually used as a window location and is modeled completely different. And it's also connected to the unused areas on the zombies version of the map, while it's not for some reason in the campaign, which is strange. I'm assuming they did this so that zombies could path through this area between windows, although it does beg the question, like, man, were they thinking that maybe we would be able to use this area? Most likely not, but them removing an entire wall and making these two areas connect? I mean, it makes you at least think about it, right? Because being able to train zombies the entire perimeter upstairs on Verruckt would have made it so much easier. The amount of times I have died on that staircase. Oh my god. Well, moving on further through the map, if we go on up the stairs towards Speed Cola, we'll see that in the campaign, this room has the same layout, although it's modeled very differently, and the door that leads to Speed Cola is permanently closed. And there's actually a deployable MG42 here in the campaign, which, I mean, awesome. And the area to the right of the staircase over here actually exists in both the campaign and zombies, although they have slightly different modeling, so here's a look at both of them. Now, over by Speed Cola, however, the layout is quite a bit different. These unused areas in zombies still do exist, and they lead to a window location that's connected to the kitchen. And you can see that the kitchen in the campaign, well, I mean, it's not a kitchen. And also, before moving on, it turns out that the balcony here does not actually connect to the power room in the campaign. It seems that was made specifically just for the zombies map. Moving over towards the STG wall Bible, see that the case is very similar here, where the bathroom and showers area seems to have been completely remodeled, while the layout is basically the same. And below what is normally the showers room is another unused area added for ambiance that is present in both the campaign and zombies. But looking forward towards power, we see that the big difference here is that there's a door that's open, and on the other side is an MG42 nest, which is actually usable by the player in the campaign. This area does exist in the zombies version, but is unused other than for a small area to look through from that window location that we talked about earlier, connected to the kitchen. Now, moving on into power, and as I'm sure most of you guys know who have played Verruckt, there is a staircase that leads down to a window that's seemingly connected to like the first floor of the building. For the campaign version of the map, this staircase does not exist at all. However, the unused area of the map underneath that makes up that first floor does. And as you can see here, it's actually quite expansive. In zombies, this unplayable space exists as well, and it's used as an area for zombies to spawn. As you can see here, it actually has multiple locations that connect back to the courtyard, so the zombies can path from back here and go get you wherever you are around the map. And just to show the differences here between this and the campaign version, here is a little facade side by side so you can see the doors that are open and the doors that are closed on the campaign. But something to note while we're looking at this, in the campaign there is this small room above what is normally the power room in zombies where AI can spawn and shoot down at the player invading that courtyard. And as you can see, it even has this little balcony area too for these AI to come on out and shoot down at you. In the zombies version, you can see this area does still exist, however the floor is completely untextured, but it does all still have collision. Okay, so that is everything in the compound of Verruckt, in that Wittnaw sanatorium. But now it's time to talk about some of the secrets that are lying beneath the map. In zombies, as you can see here, there is this mounted MG42 on a black, untextured pillar, chilling right under the fountain. And if you no-clip out of the map or somehow glitch out of the map, you can hop inside this fountain and use this MG42 to shoot at zombies, although, I mean, it's not exactly all that effective. There's also this little dev textured box under the courtyard, as well as a whole bunch of guns that are lined up outside the map and under it over here. I'm not sure why all these things are there. Perhaps the mounted MG42 is going to be a trap, and some of these guns outside the map, I mean, I have no clue. But it is important to note that none of these things exist in the campaign version. They were all put there specifically for the zombies version. So it might have been something they were just messing around with in development, and they were left down there, forgotten, and to be discovered by us in the future. Now, before moving on to Black Ops 1, there is one thing we missed, and I haven't even mentioned yet, and that is the multiplayer map in World at War that features the sanatorium. In all honesty, I probably could double the length of the video in going over this multiplayer map, and if that's something you want to see in the future, let me know down in the comment section, but for now, here is just a little walkthrough. The layout is slightly different, and there's certainly more assets laying around the map, with a few twists in there to make it more sensible for a multiplayer map. And of course, I mean, there's this outside area in the back that you don't get to see in either the zombies mode or the campaign. But other than that, there's not too much more to note without going into extreme detail, so let's go ahead and move on to Black Ops 1. Which this is probably going to be the shortest section of the video. The map is pretty much identical to the one in World at War, just like Nocturne and Toten was. The only differences really is lighting and color, of course, like the graphical differences between World at War and Black Ops 1, but most of the textures even are the same, besides some small differences. And as you can see here, even outside the sanatorium is basically identical in Black Ops 1. However, there were a few changes, and one of them being the name of the map itself. In World at War, it was called Zombie Verruckt. Of course, that means zombie crazy, or zombie insane in German. In Black Ops 1, this was shortened to just Verruckt, the name that we were all calling it anyway, and the name that, of course, we all remember it by. And in Black Ops 1, the zombie models are a little bit different. I'm pretty sure they were pulled straight from Kino der Toten, while the ones from World at War, well, they're different. They have blonde hair, and their complexion as well has been changed. But you can see in both instances of the map, they do walk like they are still part of the German army, which is just kind of one of those details that has always been really cool to me. And perhaps one of the most important changes, like as far as its impact on zombies itself, is the characters that we play as. In Black Ops 1, it's Ultimus, right? That crew that we have grown to love since Derice. And in World at War, it's Tank Dempsey, John Banana, Smokey, and Paxton Gunner Ridge. There's gotta be a power switch around here somewhere. Which, 3 of those characters we never see again after World at War, but Tank Dempsey, of course, well, I mean, he's just iconic. Now, the rest of the map, as far as structure and layout is concerned, is identical to the one in World at War. However, there is no MG42 underneath the fountain in Black Ops 1, there is no dev texture box, or any of those guns that are lined up in World at War. It seems that in Black Ops 1, they took out all these things to tidy it up a bit underneath the map, but in Black Ops 3, they actually added this MG42 back in. As you can see, in Black Ops 3, the MG42 underneath the map is no longer just sitting on a black textured pillar, and it's now sitting on something, well, take a look at that. Yeah, it's quite different. It seems like it was made as an homage to the one that was found underneath the fountain in World at War, although you cannot use it like you could in that game. The MG42, of course, is not the only thing that's changed. The fountain itself has as well, and here's a look at that. As you can see, it's filled up with blood now, and there's like a lady that's holding a bowl and some other object. Yeah, I don't know what that is. While in World at War, it's basically like a weather vane that's attached to the top of the fountain. And as we can see, strolling around the map here, Black Ops 3 has many, many differences in modeling and textures, but the layout of the map is identical to the one found in the original Verruckt in World at War. But obviously, with Black Ops 3 being made 7 years into the future, there's way more HD textures and, of course, more models added around for ambiance. Now, although lots of modeling around the map and textures have changed in Black Ops 3, there is some things that still exist in the Black Ops 3 map they didn't get rid of even though they could have, like these unused areas that we found in World at War. And in these unused areas, they actually added these black textured walls to separate areas most likely so that they could differentiate the lighting between them. Now, moving up the staircase that leads towards Speed Cola, outside the map near the gumball machine, you can see a skeleton sitting in a chair. His legs seem to be cuffed together and his arms cuffed to the armrests. He has a hat on and his eyes are glowing yellow, almost like he's a zombie as well. And of course, this is very different from what we saw in World at War, both in the campaign and the zombies map Verruckt. And as you can see here, even the outskirts of the map have changed significantly. The ground no longer has collision beyond the walls of the facility. The road leading out of the map is constructed much, much better in Black Ops 3. The buildings, although they're quite similar and are placed in basically the same location, have many, many differences. And there's also a tank outside the map with a Group 935 logo on it and the insignia C9A that cannot be found in World at War or Black Ops 1. And something to note as well while we're out here is that there's a gate that has been added to the front of the facility with 935 written above it. And this is nowhere to be seen in Black Ops 1 or World at War. And also, to the left of this gate, you can find what looks like the original fountain with that little weather vane on top of it, just chilling right here out front of the facility. Normally, this is not present in World at War or Black Ops 1. The space is basically empty. It seems like they put this here just as a little touch for those that end up finding it. Lastly, let's cover one of the coolest Easter eggs on the map, which can be found in World at War, Black Ops 1, and Black Ops 3 Verruckt. After you turn on the power in each of these maps, of course, the transformers light up, and if you go over to them, you can hear the numbers. These numbers seem to at least be a reference to the Black Ops 1 campaign where Mason is brainwashed with an encoded number sequence.
It's all in his head somewhere. He does know where it is. We have to get to the bunker. We're at DEFCON 2. You've tried everything. Not yet. I have one more card to play. The numbers, Mason. What do they mean?
Which is kind of strange, because you can find this in World at War as well. This begs the question, of course, were these numbers in World at War before Black Ops 1 came out, or were they added retroactively after the campaign was finished? I'm not entirely sure of the answer, but if you know anything yourself about this, let me know down in the comment section, because I would love to know, and I'm sure many of you guys would as well. This number sequence, although very clearly can be heard in World at War, Black Ops 1, and Black Ops 3, it cannot be heard in the Revelations version of the map, as the traditional power station seems to be in ruins. And of course, now it's time to take a look at Revelations. So, first of all, in Revelations, we only get access to a small portion of the map that seems to have been ripped right from the sanatorium and placed into Agartha. As far as playable space is concerned, it starts at the Thompson Room and includes an L-shaped portion of the building that extends all the way to power. And as you can see, of course, the modeling is quite a bit different, and so are the textures as well. It looks much more alike the Black Ops 3 Verruckt version than World at War. And it's not just textures and modeling, it's also the layout itself. It's quite a bit different in Revelations, which is actually really cool, because those unused areas that we found behind power in World at War are actually playable space in Revelations, leading behind the kitchen towards a jump pad that is placed where the mounted MG42 is in the campaign. And outside the map of Revelations, the area where the STG wall-by normally is still present. However, it's in ruins, and of course it looks quite a bit different. And lastly, the courtyard on Revelations, of course, is completely changed. In fact, it seems like it was taken over by assets from Shinonuma. And even though this is the case, the original fountain from World at War can be found outside the map with an MG42 attached to the weather vane. A hint at an old Easter egg for those who know. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the Evolution of Verruckt, the Wittenow Sanatorium. I hope you all enjoyed the video, and if you did, leave a like on it. It helps me out a ton, and of course, subscribe so you can come back for more. If you want to watch more of my content, click one of the videos on screen, and I'll catch you in the next one. But if not, stay awesome, and peace out.